true. It's true. All right. Well, let's move on to Gachiakuta.
Episode 15, yeah. I mean, Sanda's power won't go off here because it was okay. I'm not lying.
Okay, my opinion on this episode was there's a lot of setup because they're setting up all the different fights, but there was a lot of setup in this episode. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Guys.
That's my problem with Gachiakuta and what I was saying during a recap episode is they do a lot of like explaining and setup, and you're just like, I get it. You already explained fucking Jabber's claws. Like, why are we doing this again? Can't you recoup some screen time, or is it like that important that you have to like remind me again?
I feel like Jabber is primed to be either like the main anti-hero or something, because like he, as a reoccurring theme, has come back a couple times now, right? And he's always just talking shit. I'm going to assume that he has some sort of like transition into like the anti-hero and wants to help. They say in the episode, Zodal is like, oh, we're here to take down the sphere. Their ideas with Rudo are similar. They want to go further, but at the end of the day, Rudo wants to go back to the sphere for revenge.
I think that Jabber is just kind of like the X factor, just like the chaos element. Because I feel like he has split personality. He's just been poking himself with his own poison for so long, he's lost his mind. Because in episode, was it 1? Maybe episode 1 or 2, when he captures the traffickers that first got their hands on Rudo, and he's just dicing them up and giving them fish hooks or whatever. But then when he's fighting like Zonka, both times, Zonka and Rudo both times, he's just like, hey man, I just like having a good time. This is great. You guys are my friends.
Yeah.
Like, let's hang out sometime. So you have these like mood swings of him just being like evil to like, hey, fucking, you want to grab some beers after this fight? Like, this is pretty fun. So I don't know if he's like anti-hero. I just think he's fucking crazy. I guess I can see like the Raiders characters turning against Zodal in the end. Possibly when like he reveals his grand master plan of what he wants to do or whatever. And all the Raiders are like, damn, I didn't sign up for that. That's way too fucking crazy. And then they have, he's like the Sephiroth one-wing angel, and then everyone has to band together to like defeat this guy or something. I can see that.
It feels weird to me with the Raiders in general. Like, they have similar motivations, like I said. And so like right now it's just like, what's the point of them fighting? But I guess it's to take up screen time because we need to see fight scenes.
Yep. Speaking of fight scenes, episode 15 of Gachiakuta recaps episode 14 for the first minute and a half of the episode, up to where Rudo is demanding to know where Amo is. And Engine is like, sorry Raiders, we're tagging along. And Zodal says, Rudo, you were just complaining about the cleaners, but everyone here on the ground is always on high alert, and that's why they're here now. And all of this was expected, as Zodal looks at his pocket watch, and then trash starts spewing out of the pipes around them. I don't know if they actually said his name yet, but
they don't.
Zodal's a Raider.
He introduces himself in a few minutes to Rudo.
The cleaners get carried away to different locations, and Zonka is resisting the flow of the trash. But Engine is just floating on his umbrella and says, if you try to fight the current, it'll bury you, and it'll carry you away whether you like it or not. And then he just, Mary Poppins, floats away on his umbrella.
Fucking love him so much. Engine is the best, dude. Like, Zonka's like, I'm gonna fucking stick it in the ground, I'm saving myself, and he's just like,
go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow.
Just chill, bro.
But it cuts back to the Raiders, and Zodal is holding Rudo, who is alone now. And all the Raiders jump into manhole portals, and Jabber is like, Rudo, my man, we're going to go fuck up the cleaners, so play nice with the boss. So now it's just Zodal and Rudo, and Zodal goes to talk to Rudo, and he's like, Amo, is that the reason for your rage? I want to share in that shit. And do you want to help me take down the fucking sphere? Rudo has visions of the sphere falling, and Zodal is like, hey, we just had the same vision. But then says he's never seen the sphere and has no way to learn about it. And what you were picturing just now weren't those you care about, but what would happen to the target of your rage. So I think he's basically just saying like Rudo's angry, and like fucking if his anger and rage are allowed to run rampant, this is what it's gonna look like. more or
Yeah,
less.
I agree. I think that, like I keep saying, like they have this similar idea, but like also one of the things with the sphere being as big as it is in my mind and them showing like a rock collapsing to the ground, I kind of wanted to see more because I really need to get a gauge on how big the sphere is, because if they're pumping out that much trash, there has to be like 1 million people living on this thing, right? Like it's not just like 10 fucking rich people, you know?
Like, we know why Rudo wants to take down the sphere. We don't know why
Right.
Zodal wants to take down the sphere. He just says
Mhm.
that their goals align. And they say that here in a second, like, Zodal apparently is some fucking 9D chess player that, like, plays mind jujitsu with you and fucking confuses you.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
what's weird, just I guess, little spoiler, these next few episodes, right, is going to be the cleaners and the raiders fighting more or less.
Mhm.
But then Zodal doesn't really do this again. He doesn't do this mind game jujitsu shit. So they kind of have this one episode where it shows Zodal some like mastermind. Maybe his vital instrument allows him to, like, I don't know, use his words to convince people of shit or something like that. But this is the only time we kind of see this, and I thought it was weird. So
Yeah. Okay.
Rudo is like, don't change the subject. What happened to Amo and the cleaners? And he's like, nah, you're the one changing the subject. I answered in my own way. Now it's time for you to answer. So again, more like mind chess with Zodal here. Rudo is like, why is this dude so hard to talk to? And it's hard in a different way than Amo. Because Amo, you couldn't even talk to her. But this guy makes you feel like his words have you captive. And then it has some weird scene with fucking chains coming out of Zodal's mouth, ensnaring Rudo. That didn't really
This is
happen. That's just what Rudo feels
right.
like.
I also think that this is part of his vital instruments extended power list, that he, while he's not forcing his vital instrument into action, he definitely does this to certain way, like in your mind.
Yeah.
Like if you were talking to him, it would be in his mind, right?
That's
So
what it feels
yeah,
like. Yeah. They
it's
don't really
weird.
explain that either. So
Okay, great. At least not this season.
Rudo is like, I haven't restocked my trash, but I'll use this shit if I need to. And he taps his trash bag. And Zodal is like, what's your reason for joining the cleaners? And Rudo says, to get back to the sphere. And Zodal is like, you think you'll get back that way? Going to the sphere is not part of the cleaners' duties. And you want more than this fake friendship, don't you? But then it cuts to Rio, and then her opponent appears, and it shows the other cleaners and their opponents. Engine with some dude hiding behind an armoire. Bro and Deer with some big shoulder armor dude. And Rio is like, oh, did you guys split us up to fight one-on-one? And then her opponent, the blonde-haired raider girl, is like, yep, you got it. And then it shows Zonka getting stuck with Jabber. Round 2. Zonka and Jabber start fighting immediately, and their arena has some bubbling poison shit all around them. Jabber is like, hey, what's this shit? Let's touch it. And he does. And he's like, oh shit, that's hot. But then his left hand claw absorbs the poison. Jabber reiterates his claw powers. The right one has the neurotoxin, which doesn't change. And when he tries new poisons, it reflects in his left claw. And then he flings the poison at Zonka. It cuts to Gita just bouncing around the tunnels, and she's alone, but hears a cockroach and befriends it. But then it cuts to Rio, who also sees a cockroach, and she has the opposite reaction and is completely grossed out. The blonde-haired raider chick is like, what? You live on the ground, and you're a cleaner, and cockroaches scare you? And she's like, I'm not even the worst one. We got someone that ran around screaming when he got poop on him. And then it cuts back to Zonka, who blocked the poison fling by lifting up the ground.
He didn't get under it, though. It was very weird. I do not understand what happened.
Well, his vital instrument, overturning Earth, power of Earth, wind, water, heart, go planet.
Thank you, Captain Planet.
Zonka is like, man, you want poison so bad? Take this. And he flips the Earth over to drop a bunch of it onto Jabber, overturning Earth. Cuts to Engine, and he's trying to talk to his opponent, who is still hiding, and the dude thinks Engine seems like a pretty cool dude. So it sounds like I'm moving pretty fast, but this is basically how
It's just literally jumping around.
the
Like
episode
the whole episode
happened.
is jumping around.
It's just cutting
Yeah.
back and forth between all of the cleaners and their opponents and, basically talking to them for 1 second and then cutting to another cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens again. It cuts to Bro and Deer, and they're like, "Are we underground?" And Shoulder Dude is like, "Yup, that's right. Try your chokers." And it cuts to Rio, and she's like, "Damn, choker no work." Blonde Raider says Zodal's first order is that if anyone other than Rudo comes along, defeat as many as possible. And she introduces herself as Nord Hugh Amazo. And she transforms her vital instrument and then starts brushing her hair. So her vital instrument is a comb, and then she transforms it into a comb and then brushes her hair.
Transforms it into a bigger.
Yeah, like
comb.
slightly bigger. It's not even that much bigger. It just kind of like
Yeah.
got 2 more teeth, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Rio is like sick, and she vital instruments and attacks first and cuts a small bit of hair from Nord. And Rio is like, scissors and hair are a bad matchup for you. And Rio goes for another attack while Nord continues to brush her hair. Cuts back to Zonka, and Zonka is like, "I know that couldn't have killed you," but then it's still silent, and he's like, "Oh shit, no, you can't be dead. I've seen you take worse than that." And he runs over to check, but then Jabber starts laughing and busts out of the rubble, and apparently he bankai'd because now he's got 2 giant claws, and he says it's been a long time since someone could force out the real me. And Zonka is like, "Damn, everything before wasn't actually him going all out?" Jabber's like, "Zonka, you should go all out too, buddy. You got another level, don't you? Don't tell me you just swing a stupid stick around, you loser." It cuts back to Rio, and her attack failed because Nord uses static electricity. And she's like, "Electricity and scissors sounds like a bad matchup for you, kid." And that's episode
Her
15.
hair looks dope as fuck though. When she it's like lightning hair. It's awesome. I was pretty stoked on it. Not gonna lie. She looks
Yeah,
dope.
it was cool.
I don't hate this episode. I just don't think it's very exciting yet. I think the next couple episodes of all the fights happening will be a little more amped up for me. This was a lot of exposition and a lot of like transitional exposition, everybody talking at the same time, having different conversations, but all of them flowing together, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the notes on this are really short. It basically was just that, just a lot of cutting back and forth, showing the opponents. Zonka and Jabber did fight like a little bit, but not like that much. Yeah, it was weird. I like finished taking my notes and I'm like, damn, like these are really short. But unfortunately, not too much happened. They introduced the Raiders, and not even their names, just Nord. That's the only one they introduced.
Yeah.
You got to see the other ones, but they only said
Nord and Zodal, obviously, but definitely a strange episode, but I understand why. It's definitely a setup episode.
I'm a little disappointed in Gachiakuta as well. Seeing as I'm a little farther in the series and knowing how the Raider fights happen, knowing how the fights end, and knowing what happens afterward, it's holding to its roots of being a traditional, classic, run-of-the-mill shonen.
It is very much that.
Because, like, I'm trying to think, who has died so far?
Nobody.
Regto died.
Yeah.
We had the traffickers die from Jabber.
At least one of them.
We had the graffiti dude die, Gob.
Of old age.
Or either inhaling too much spray paint, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
But that's pretty much it.
But it is season 1. I was thinking back to like JJK and like how many characters died in the first like 15 to 16 episodes. It wasn't very many.
But also Rio does something. And for me, it like totally broke immersion. I felt like it was so out of left field, doesn't really make any sense. And
in this episode?
No. In the future. I was really disappointed in it. And then we see something that happens with Nord later on as well, where I thought like, oh shit, Nord is like fucking done. But as we continue, like she isn't. And I was disappointed. You have all of these elements where it seems like...
This is why I say like the Raiders and the Cleaners have very similar ideas. And like, I don't think that any of them are going to die.
No, they all have plot armor. Everyone has armor.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It actually kind of lost me in these next episodes. Kind of similar to like the original like Jabber and Zonka fight with Rudo or whatever. Like it was cool,
Okay.
but then like you made it go too long and there was too much exposition of powers and explaining how everything worked. How you always say it was more like it wasn't show not tell. It was just tell and then show like a little bit later. And just that idea of unnecessary exposition really is like a pet peeve of mine, because basically you're telling me as a viewer I'm not smart enough to figure out some of this stuff. And with your explanation, it sounded like you didn't even need to explain it because it was pretty obvious what the fuck was going on with Jabber's claws, with fucking Rudo's, his vital instrument with like Griss's thing or whatever. Like even after he was done using it and how it kind of like crumbled into dust and it, you know, served its purpose sort of thing. You almost didn't even need to tell me that. Like I came to that conclusion on my own. So it just kind of sucks that there is so much exposition, and I guess the age bracket that Gachiakuta is aimed at, I suppose, like maybe they felt that the exposition is needed because of the younger viewer audience, and maybe they may not be able to come to these conclusions. But yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing, and it sucks that they still kind of continue to do the exposition, and I just feel like it's unnecessary and they could have done a lot more. Like if anything, not even added new stuff, just give us longer fights. Have like the Zonka Jabber fight just be all fighting and just let me sit there and enjoy the animation, the choreography, and I can pick up on what their vital instruments do myself.
That's a pretty cool idea. I agree. There's a lot of like sprinting and stopping.
Yes.
So far in Gachiakuta.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is not as fun. I agree. That's also happening in Bleach a lot too. And that's another reason why it's kind of annoying.
That's why I say it's kind of like classic run-of-the-mill shonen. Like they all do it, unfortunately. And it's just, I guess maybe it's just the nature of what a shonen is and why I don't enjoy them maybe as much. It's kind of like the Chainsaw Man movie. They had like a really big or really long fight scene with the Bomb Devil, and not just Denji, but she fought a couple other people too. They didn't have to explain her power to me.
Well, I mean, I think we all know what bombs do. So
yeah, but I mean,
but she does like a lot of other stuff. Like I've seen clips of her doing some like throwing down cluster grenades and shit like that. And
yeah, like you know, when she transforms, she like pulls the pin on her choker on her neck and stuff. And I'm like, I get it. Bombs, explosions, like anything that explodes is a bomb. Like you don't have to sit there and like tell me that it is. They just gave me like 30 minutes of fucking shit exploding. And I was like, damn, this is crazy. And I kind of wish that's what Gachiakuta did instead.